Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Joshing Around Milwaukee. As always, I am Josh Albrecht. The other Josh Albrecht isn't with me today, but that's okay because who is with me is Paul Rogers, the founder and president of the Air and Water Show. Paul, thanks for joining.
Two Joshes are better than one. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Two Joshes having some fun. Cause two Joshes are better than one.
Pleasure to be here.
So first and foremost, I mean, I know that it's a Milwaukee tradition. The show is so awesome, but give me a little history and just talk about the tradition of the Air and Water Show.
Absolutely. Well, the event started in 2004 at Veterans Park, of course, and partnership with Milwaukee County Parks. And so it's been a tremendous experience since then. And we've grown to be, I think, safe to say, one of Milwaukee's largest events, of course.
Yeah.
And we moved the show site from Veterans Park to where it is now at Bradford Beach and McKinley Beach and McKinley Park. And so, yeah, it's been quite an experience and honor, privilege to be the president of the Milwaukee Air and Water Show, now known as the Waterstone Bank Air and Water Show.
Yes, that's right. So you founded the show. How did this all come together? What was it where you were like, you know what, I think that we could really put on something special here, and it all kind of got to where it is today?
Well, it all came together when I was a member of the 128th Air Refueling Wing, and there was some military display aircraft, and I decided to make that come alive with an air show. And there were some other considerations at other locations, and it decided that Milwaukee Lakefront would be the best spot. Yeah. And so that's where it kind of started in 2002. Actually, with Festa Italiana was the first air show. And then I went on my own in 2004 at Veterans Park, and after that, it grew to become, its own event. And that's been the history so far. And of course, I'm in my 24th year now of course, Waterstone Bank being with us for their 7th year. So have been the greatest sponsor ever. And if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be an air show. So It's now the Waterstone Bank Air and Water Show.
Yeah, we appreciate them. Tell me a little bit about what makes the show unique, what you think makes it different than if you were going to ever see anything like it.
I think the best features of the Air and Water Show are that we have a jet team every year, meaning the Thunderbirds, Air Force Thunderbirds, or the Blue Angels, Navy Blue Angels flight squadrons. They're the centerpiece, the showpiece of the event, along with other demonstration teams. For example, this year we have the Navy Super Hornet demo, the Golden Knights parachute team. We have the C-17 Air Force demo team, and of course the F-35. So the centerpiece of these shows is the military participation. We do have some great civilian aerobatic acts throughout the years, and we do have a water show. But this, over the years, the main piece has been the military participation, where people get a chance to see, the military acts, the aircraft perform. That's what their taxes are paying for, and they get to see it firsthand.
Yeah, which is nice. That's a nice touch. Now, I've always been curious because, especially with the air part of the show, you're seeing the planes come in, right? But you don't always know like how far of a space they're going to get back to be where you are for the show. Where do they start? How does like their distance and their area kind of give me that range, that map?
Absolutely. So each air show has its own performance box, is what we call it, the air show box. In this case, because it's a Thunderbird or Blue Angel box, it's 12,000 feet long. And so for Milwaukee, that goes from the marina all the way to the north end of Bradford Beach, 12,000 feet long, and it's about 6,000 feet wide. So all the performances must be contained in the aerobatic box.
Really?
And that can only be the spectators, which are, of course, along the beaches and the McKinley Park. You can only be no closer than 1,200 to 1,500 feet from that box. That's the separation distance that the jet teams and performers must maintain to keep a safe air show. And of course, safety is our number one. So that's kind of how that works in terms of the box. Now, there's a center point to the box where we put boat markers and other buoy markers. That's where the jet teams and the performers key in on the center point, which is right off of Bradford Beach. And so that's where everybody focuses in when they sit down and watch the show, is on that center point of the box.
So when the planes are coming in, they gotta keep it tight in that
They do.
area.
They're focusing on that center point.
Wow.
And all those markers so that they can safely know how to get in and out of the performance box safely. There's rules and regulations as far as speed, altitude, that sort of thing. All to keep a safe air show.
Sure. Of course, obviously safety is most important, but also like is there like someone in the crowd that's making sure, like how is that all monitored?
Yes. At center point, we have a stage on the lakefront that's monitored by our air boss,
Wow.
Mike Vandini, one of the best in the world. And that's where our air show announcer is, Herb Hunter, another one of the best in the world. And they monitor with other folks, including the FAA, how they come in and out of that box, altitudes, distances, speed, the whole thing. There's a set of rules that they got to follow, and you can't break the speed of sound.
Yeah. Well, which would be hard to do in the box, right? I assume that's not.
They could anywhere they want, but they're not, they just know to maintain a certain speed.
Sure. So you talked a little bit about the lineup and what makes it unique and the military aspect. And then you also mentioned a little bit about the best spots to watch. Now, I know that people have, like, obviously Bradford Beach is where the majority of people go, but people go all around. I mean, I know people that go up the hill there. They go all around the beachfront. Where is your favorite spot to watch a show?
Well, I mean, people do watch it from all over the city, of course, Bradford Beach, McKinley Beach. But the main primary seating is at center point. And that's where the best views of the air show occur. So if you're way on the north or south end of the box, you don't get as good of a show. So my private reserve seating that you can buy online is the Center Point, Flight Line Club, and Sky Chalet seating. It's on sale right now, has been. Those are the best seats to watch the air show because you're closest to the box.
Yes.
And it's at center point, meaning all of the primary performance activities when they do their maneuvers are based on center point.
Right.
And so you can watch it from anywhere in the city, but the best spots are at McKinley Park and Bradford Beach at the lakefront.
So it is a free event to watch, but you brought up there is reserved seating and also parking, right? You can take care of all of those things online.
Yes, you can buy reserved lakefront parking and seating at the 3 seating areas, Center Point, Flight Line Club, and Sky Chalet. Or, again, you can watch it from the beach. There's no charge for Bradford Beach, but it's crowded, so get there in time. And then there's other areas that you can watch, obviously. But again, the best seating, the best experience of the air show is from the reserved seating.
Sure.
And it helps support the Air and Water Show, helps me keep it back. Coming back every year.
Yeah, which obviously it's a tradition. It's a tradition in Milwaukee and something that so many people and families love. I have a little one, I have another one on the way. And we have always looked forward to the Air and Water Show. I used to go with my mom and dad. It's always been something. And the reserve seating is a really good point because there are people that get there hours early to get that spot. So getting that stress out of there and not even having to worry about it and just knowing you have a seat and you have a parking spot, that's prime. I like that a lot. Now, another thing I thought that was really interesting was that you guys also do some work with Make-A-Wish. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We do. And the reason for that is that the Blue Angels and Thunderbirds squadrons have selected Make-A-Wish as their official charity that they work with for a visit each year. So there's a couple social visits that the Thunderbirds and Blues and other demo teams do each year, hospitals, schools, but the Make-A-Wish is the primary. And so what they do is right after the Friday practice when they land, in this case, it'll be the Thunderbirds this year, the first thing they do when they step out of their jets is go over to the hangar and do the Make-A-Wish visit. And it's been a great experience over at the 128th Air Refueling Wing. It's just never been better. They get to walk around on the ramp, look at the airplanes, meet the pilots.
So cool.
It's been absolutely phenomenal. It's one of my favorite parts of the Air and Water Show is doing the Make-A-Wish with Make-A-Wish Wisconsin. And it's just been a wonderful experience. And of course, when they do meet the families from Make-A-Wish who come into the hangar at that 128th Air Refueling Wing, it's the greatest feeling in the world, and it's just wonderful.
And it's such an awesome thing, and Make-A-Wish does such great things for the community and for those kids and the families. How, is there one specific story though? Because clearly, I mean, I would too, but I can tell how much you really love that. Is there one story that you can remember, or a specific example of just how awesome that moment can be?
Absolutely. And it was last year with the Blue Angels when all the families were in the hangar at the 128th. After the practice, they landed, and all 7 of the Blue Angels in their flight suits walked into that hangar with the biggest smiles on their face, and all the Make-A-Wish kids were there. Some of them challenged, some of them were in wheelchairs. And when they came through that hangar door, those Blue Angels, with Amanda Lee, the newest Lady Blue Angel, it was just fantastic.
That's so cool.
And it would just enough to make a grown man cry. But that was probably one of the best ones that I've seen, when those Blue Angels walked through that hangar. Now, that same thing is going to happen with the Thunderbirds this year.
Yeah.
When those 7 Thunderbird pilots walk through those hangar doors at the 128 with the Make-A-Wish kids, it'll bring a tear to your eye.
That's so awesome. And I'm so thankful that you guys do that. So talking about the show, you said 24th year. Tell me how the show has changed over the 24 years in terms of, what people see. You got to keep things fresh, right? You got to keep things entertaining. What has changed about the show?
Well, I think primarily it's been the acts. The location has been pretty much the same since 2009 along McKinley and Bradford Beaches, but it's really maintaining those jet teams coming and the military demonstration teams. We have a very good relationship with all the military when they bring and consider Milwaukee to bring their team. So I think the main thing has been the switch from maybe 50% civilian and military to now I'm primarily 90% military acts.
Sure.
And we've got some other airplanes in the show. So that's been the one of the biggest changes, or transitions rather. The second is the water show, which is from 10 o'clock until 11:30 each day on Saturday, Sunday. I've expanded that to a more exciting types of acts. And that's the Robbie Allen Ski Extreme Productions, new this year.
Okay.
At the Air and Water Show. He's got 6 different acts that he does. Air chair, ski jumps, or I'm sorry, not ski jumps, but he does, there's a paraglider, there's jet ski tricks. There's all these different acts in the water show. So that's been a big change, because typically we've depended on some different other elements of the water show, which has been pretty tough to get the last couple of years. Now they got a new guy coming in, Robbie Allen, who was with Tommy Bartlett many years.
Sure.
In the Dells.
Yes.
And now he's with us.
Very
So
cool.
that's going to be an exciting addition to that. I think the other thing is that we've really improved on the seating aspect. With the Center Point Flightline Club seating, it's been expanded. We have room for private tents for private parties. And so the overall show site has been more accommodating. We have some of the best parking for our ticket holders and private parties. It's right across the street with your county parks, grass lots. It doesn't get any better than that.
What about food and drink? Are there stands set up? Do people got to bring their own food?
We've had a much improved area with vendors. We keep it all local now. And so we have local food providers that sell food and beverage at the show. And that's been another, I think, improvement area that we've had. It's been kind of tough the last couple of years, but we've really improved on the local aspect of, local vendors doing the food and beverage they can buy along the sidewalk, come to the event. You got plenty of delicious food that they can buy. And then in the seating areas, we also have concessions vendors located within the seating. So if you buy a Center Point Flightline Club, that's located in there. So that's been a big improvement as well.
So as far as the actual show with the planes, is there a certain stunt or a maneuver or something that you always go, watch this? This is my favorite one.
I think the most favorite for people is the sneak pass.
Okay.
And that's the Thunderbirds or Blue Angels when they come over with their single jet from the west to the east over the crowd. Nobody's expecting it.
Yeah.
That's sneak pass number 1. The other one is the high speed pass with the solo number 5 or solo number 6, where they come down the shoreline at a high rate of speed and nobody's expecting it, and they just come out of nowhere. That's the other sneak pass.
Yeah.
So there's a couple sneak passes, and then with the Blue Angels, it's mainly Fat Albert comes right at the crowd. Thunderbirds, of course, they don't have Fat Albert.
Sure.
So they don't have that, but we do have the C-17, which is the support airplane for the Thunderbirds. That's the big old Air Force aircraft that does cargo and things like that. We also have the new KC-46 refueling tanker, the Pegasus, which is going to be hopefully the new airplane for the 128th Refueling Wing.
Ooh.
Because they have the older KC-135s. So that's always a great act, because this is the hometown Air Force of the Milwaukee, the 128th Refueling Wing, and we're going to make sure that they get that KC-46 tanker in the show.
Yes.
And at the base.
I love that.
So as far as the acts, so those are the main things. I think the civilian aerobatics guys do a great job, during their tumbling acts and all that. So that's all great. And of course, what returned this year in 2024, the Army Golden Knights parachute team.
That's right.
Who land on Bradford Beach.
Awesome. I always loved seeing that. Those were always a favorite as well. So one of the things we love to ask on Joshing Around is we talk about all the new things that are happening around Milwaukee, and the vibes, the fresh city vibes. Is there anything that you can think of in Milwaukee right now that's giving you those fresh city vibes?
Well, I think, again, the main thing is that we have the best of the military to offer in terms of the Air and Water Show. Can't get much better than the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels, so that's kind of, I think it's got to be one of the biggest vibe, where we get the roar of thunder with our showcasing our military and what they do for us to keep us all free citizens, fighting for us, all our war fighters. And remember, these Thunderbirds and Blue Angels and other demonstration teams, they're all combat aviators. They've been overseas and fighting for our country. They don't just appear out of nowhere to be a Blue Angel or a Thunderbird. They are experienced combat aviators that went through a vetting process to become a Blue Angel or a Thunderbird or a demo team guy. So, and that's the same thing with the Army Golden Knights. They're all experienced military guys that fight for our country. So I think for me, the biggest vibe is, here we go. We're going to showcase for our veterans, our military community, our first responders. We're going to showcase our great military acts again, right at Milwaukee's lakefront. And as you get a first row seat to it.
I love that. And yes, we're very grateful for all of those men and women that have served and now can help entertain us as well. So if people want to learn more or buy those tickets to the Air and Water Show, which is going to be on the 27th and 28th this year, where should they go?
mkeairwatershow.com. And from there, you just go to the ticket section, buy tickets, and it'll take you to a online portal with e-tix. You can buy your tickets right there. It's super easy.
Awesome.
I've kept the prices reasonable throughout the years. I think I've only increased maybe one section, $5 one year. So it's all very affordable, and it supports the Air and Water Show. It keeps us going. So buy those tickets.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right.